guys must have either heard of Sea Shepherd over the last, since 1977, since we have existed, or maybe you guys have only heard Sea Shepherd because of the television series that finally got made about us by Animal Planet, called Whale Wars. Very exciting, of course. The fact is, my captain has been at this as a founding member of Greenpeace since 1971, and as the founder of Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. I believe it was 1977, somewhere there, and being very active in the Canadian seal hunt, trying to boycott the Canadian fisheries as a whole, because it's in fact, this whole seal hunt is subsidized by the Canadian government, and have been out on the ice many times, doing many different forms of action to try and stop this, what we call baby seal bashing. And of course, since then, many more issues have come up in the world, here in our world's oceans, that as a marine mammal conservation society, and our main objective being to enforce existing marine mammal laws that are not being enforced by governments, are not being enforced in extraterritorial waters, and we've taken it upon ourselves to enforce these, which is the reason why we never really have gotten into any sort of trouble with the legal system. They once in a while try to charge us with something, but we never get convicted of any crime, because the fact is we are not committing any crimes. We are going after the people who are committing the crimes. More often than not, the people who commit the crimes, or the countries or the governments, they don't really want to take us to court, and they try really hard to drop any case that they might have thought they have against us, because they don't want the international attention of a high-profile court case of possible, poaching going on in the waters that in fact belong to the planet and belong to themselves. These oceans do not belong to humankind. They don't belong to any country. The life in it belongs to itself. It's there by its own merit. It's there just to be there. So since corporations don't seem to understand that, we are there and we are working under the World Charter for Nature, which allows us as citizens, or a group of citizens, or any kind of organization, to enforce existing laws. Every individual actually under the World Charter for Nature must enforce laws when we see them being broken. So we have the time that we've had to use some defense, we've had to use that one. Like I said, more often than not, the cases get dropped, or they try really hard to have the whole issue just kind of go away. Because the truth is that, we're speaking truth to power, and we're acting truth to power. And so we have a history of no personal injury ever, not to ourselves, not to our opposing parties, killers. And the truth is that we have never been convicted of a crime. None of us, not the captain, not any of us. It really works. So as far as our campaigns, besides the seal hunt that's been ongoing, my captain wrote an entire book that's called Seal Wars. Very educational, very interesting book to read. It starts all the way at the early beginning of the Greenpeace days and what all happened there, and it takes us up to recently. This year they are once again slaughtering whales. However, there's very little ice left because of global warming. So there is very little baby seals even surviving, because they need to be on the ice, they can't swim yet. And even with that, the killers are out there for their cultural, political, subsidy, money reasons, to kill the ones that did make it on the ice. And so the politics in Canada are terrible on that level. So that's the thing that's going on right now, that my captain this year, his strategy is to look, let this issue play itself out. They will, sooner or later, they will not be able to afford to do this anymore, because it's subsidized by the government. And because we've done so much for so many years, that this year the strategy is like, look, they just like it if we're antagonistic to them. So maybe we just like pursue the boycott of all Canadian fishery products. There's already a ban on the pelts in Europe. So this year it's like, look, you know, it will stop. They will stop. The other hunt that's currently going on is in the Faroese Islands, which is a small island group. It hangs out somewhere between Scotland and Iceland, in the middle of nowhere, kind of. It's very prosperous. It's under a Danish protectorate. It's not officially Denmark, but it is as prosperous as Denmark and the Scandinavian countries. And they have a hunt going on there for many years, and this is going to be one of our campaigns this year. By which they go out in little boats around the islands and kind of purse seine a pod of pilot whales into a shallow bay. And they drive up with their trucks and with long knives and strange, you know, barbaric tools that you wouldn't believe are still, you know, happening in a modern well-to-do European nation. And you know, on the footage you can see they bring their little 6-year-old boys and gators and wait in this bay where these animals are freaking out and hack away at them with knives, and you know, and they put them all on the beach, and there's babies involved. It's, you know, in the womb still, and it's just unbelievable. And I'm sure that some of the meat will get eaten, but you know, it's certainly not that they need that food. They will readily say that this is a cultural hunt. They call it the grind in Danish. Probably hunt or something, I'm not sure. But and they will readily admit that it's cultural. Which is, there's many reasons why people say they have to continue mass slaughter of animals that are extremely crucial in the ecosystem, like shark finning. It is either based on subsistence, like the Eskimos killing one whale for the entire tribe per year. We would never say or do anything about that. That's cool. We are not against, you know, we wouldn't ever do action against that. But then there is for commercial purposes. Sorry, but it's not a good time for that anymore. We don't do commercial killing of species that are totally crucial for the ocean's ecosystem. If the oceans die, we die. If you didn't care about the oceans, which I'm sure we all do here, but then at least, you know, if you care about humankind, we will die when the oceans die. And I would like to say if the oceans die, because you have to be hopeful. If you lose hope, it's a downward spiral, you're a done deal, you're gone. So whatever you can do in your life, anything you can tithe in the way of your money or time or energy towards a hopeful, positive thing, that is the battle half won, if you want to look at it as a battle still. I look at it as an as above, so below strategy, that if your mind is focused on I am going through some amount of personal sacrifice in order to ameliorate this greater evil that's going on, it will have a great effects just for that reason alone, just for anybody saying I'm going to step out of my own way here for a little bit. So as far as our so that's another campaign we're going to do, the pilot whale hunt at Faroese Islands. Another campaign we're doing this year is the Bluefin Tuna, which is a normal legal fishery. It happens in the Mediterranean every year, and bluefin, big, beautiful bluefin tuna, also an extremely important species in the ecosystem, is not doing well and still having an allotted quota to be fished. Last year we were there and we found some poaching, illegal activity of going over their allotted quota, or fishing in the wrong place, or fishing when there was not a fish opener going on at the time. We were able to catch and release some of those. Mostly wherever we show up, mostly the international attention happens because, okay, here's these sea shepherds again, what are they going to do this time, you know, and so at least, you know, even just for that reason, we will get the attention focused on that, and particularly on the pilot whale in Denmark. So that's this year. Other campaigns we have going is ongoingly is we have a branch in the Galapagos Islands where I've personally been. I arrived there in the year 2000. We did not have much connection there yet. We were on our way from here through the Panama Canal to the seal hunt, made a stop in the Galapagos, spoke with the Ecuadorian National Park Service and asked if we could help them with their anti-poaching activities, because a lot of poaching going on in the Darwin place and where all life is still in its natural state, and is that kind of a place with all these beautiful islands there where things are supposed to be left alone in their ecosystem. So there's poaching going on there of sea urchins, of key species that are supposed to be left alone over there, and including of course shark finning.